think it was one of the Facebook CEOs. His name is, he's an Indian guy named Charmath Palihapitiya, came out and said that he regrets being associated with Facebook because he believes that they've ruined the fabric of society. He won't even let his children, he doesn't let his children use social media. There was another guy too with Facebook who pretty much said the same thing. You know, so yeah, it definitely is done by design. I want to get to the last question. Anybody else want to add to what you were talking about? Nobody? Nobody.
What was it? Sorry, I don't even.
I'm listening to everything. We were kind of talking about technology and how it's affecting us. Are the tech firms going to intervene? How can that be stopped? And then we just kind of went on a tangent talking about which is fine, which is great. It was a good conversation to talk about technology and how it's it has its good points, but it could be used for bad, and how it's also, we're also kind of like devolving through technology, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's also, you know, studies out. I've heard of the studies. I read the headlines. I technically haven't read the full studies, but I can see it happening. They know that it physically affects us, right? The radiation from the computers, you know, how it messes our eyes up.
Yeah. Well,
I use, if I'm on the computer for a long period of time, I try and use salt lamps. And I'm really making strides not to be on the computer so much, because it does take a physical toll on your well-being.
No, sorry, totally. I won't even jump into this, but I mean, aside from information and social media, forget about that. Let's also not forget that 20% or some stuff is also attributed to things like internet pornography. Now, again, if you're, I'm just gonna put it out there.
That's what I'm into. I'm kidding.
That's you know, it's incredibly I think it's destroyed my generation. Internet porn has just made us all bad at interpersonal skills. I'm convinced at this point. I'm not speaking for everybody here, but it's just yep, the fact that what is it, 30% of internet sources are for internet porn. Again, if you work in the porn industry, that's your own thing. I don't really give a shit. But it has had a profound impact on people also even interacting with each other. So forget information and forget how you feel about yourself. That already has, I guess, satisfied the most biological urge for people. So they don't even want to go out and talk to each other. That's the crazy thing too. It's just you already feel like shit, and then now you're more insecure about going out and talking to people. So you compound that as well as part of technology, and we're all kind of screwed.
Have you seen that Black Pigeon Speaks video where he does a really good job of breaking it down and how it physically affects how porn affects your mind and your body? Have you seen that, Zach?
Yeah, I know
the
what
Black Pigeon Speaks video.
But I've read all kinds of stuff of your, we don't have to get into it, but your brain on porn and everything, and it's just biologically we're just not used to that. We're not used to that kind of a thing. It effectively has made us really impotent. It's that, but sometimes we don't realize that it actually is so impactful in our day-to-day decisions and everything. And when you just don't want to engage in people because of it, think about that for a second. Think about the basis of biology. Reproduction being I don't know, arguably a human being's most important trait is the continuation of your kind, and you just don't want to do that anymore. You just don't want to go out and meet people. You don't want to get laid anymore because of that. It's a real thing. I'm not going to downplay it. So many people my age just don't want to talk to people, and I think porn has a big men and women. Porn has a big bearing on that, and a lot of people won't admit to it, but it does. It really So.
No, that's great. I'm glad you brought it up. You're very, very, very right about that. And another thing I wanted to bring up though too is attention spans, right? People want their information bam, bam. A lot of people don't have the patience to sit down and read and actually gain a very profound knowledge of any subject, because they want, you know, this instant gratification and instant satisfaction that they get with today's modern technology. We should just do another symposium talking just about technology. Actually, we could do that.
Yeah, let's move on though. You ask the next question. Oh, you're on mute, Christine.
Damn it. Okay, last question, you guys. What are you gonna do? I want to say win, but like I said, I don't want to jinx it. I'm afraid to jinx it, okay? So
say it.
What are you gonna do when we win, or if we win? When we win, if we win.
Win.
I'm gonna moon the whole country. I'm gonna moon everybody. I'm gonna put my pants down and moon everybody and say, yeah, we won. I don't care. I'm gonna get petty. That's what
I mean, it could be, you know, somebody said earlier there can be blue and red waves. I see that, but I think it's really going to be one or the other. And I'm praying that it's a total wet red wave. And for some of you guys that don't pray, that's fine. But I definitely believe in the power of intention. So what do you want to see happen? Thinking, you know, instead of thinking about us losing and it being a blue wave, what do you want to see? Like, how is it going to look? Start thinking about that and try and stay in that state of mind so we can manifest this too. I mean, physically go out and vote, but I'm like, vote and pray, vote and pray. That's my motto for this 2018.
I'm right there.
Election.
I'm right there.
I'm going to go first because I got to get going.
Okay. All right.
What I hope happens if we win, and I think we will, is what I believe should have happened when Trump won. People who are liberal, Democrat, realize, okay, something happened and people supported a position or a person, not because they're bad people, but because they know something that I don't know. And I firmly believe that I know something that they don't know. And what we're doing right now, all of us, this is what needed to happen. Trump needed to be president so we could finally have what I consider is this civil war amongst our nation, to where we have to talk once again. We have to be humble to understand that I could be wrong. And what you're seeing with Kavanaugh, with Trump, with anything that's associated with the Republican, it's anarchy and it's pure lunacy. And I firmly believe that when we win, that's what I want to see, is just us having conversations again, us getting back to like what you guys are talking about with social media. The fact that we're so drawn into our phones and tablets, we're lacking something. We're slowly dying and decaying as a society. We don't have hope anymore. We're not religious anymore. We don't appreciate family. We don't want to get married anymore. We just want to have sex and do drugs and idolize somebody who's probably more imperfect than we are. Like, we have to actually really look inside our souls and figure out what we want for the future, because that's all we're doing. We're just recording what's going on. That's it. And with that, it was a pleasure, guys. But I got to get going.
See you, conservative Mexican.
Let's do another one. I really enjoyed this.
This was great.
See you, right. SA. Much love, SA.
All right.
Thanks for coming on.
Have a good one.
Mo, you're retarded.
I guess I'm gonna go next because it's 11:30 where I live. Yeah, I would say, like, you know, as tempting as it is, because you're right. I'm right there with you that I believe in the power of belief, in the power of intentions, and, you know, what you think about, you bring about, law of attraction. And I firmly believe that there is going to be red wave, red tsunami, no matter what it is. I think at the very least, like the worst case scenario, the Republicans don't give too much ground. I mean, we have to be real and realize, like, the Democrats are going to gain some seats in the House, but the Republicans can also gain some seats in the House. You know, as long as they hold the Senate and gain a few seats in the House, I think they'll be fine. But I don't see some big blue wave coming and then it's just going to be full of Democrats. That's not going to happen, especially after this Kavanaugh thing. Earlier in the year, like with that problem thing on the border, with the children getting separated, it was looking a little muddy. The waters were a little muddy for Republicans. But now, with 1 month to go, with how the Democrats acted with this Kavanaugh thing, I think that red pilled a shit ton of people in the country. They're like, wow, this is crazy. This is crazy where we are as a country. And so I think we're going to see that. So as tempting as it is to rub it in everyone's face and be like, we have to keep working because we got to get Trump reelected. We are not out of the woods yet just because we stopped a blue wave in midterms. Even though history is not on our side, we have to keep moving. We have to keep working. We have to keep getting information out. We have to push for not an internet bill of rights because we don't want government involved in that, but we have to get the discourse back. We have to get our voices heard, because if we don't, and the Democrats do somehow regain power, because they do still control the pillars of influence, that's mainstream media, that's academia, and, you know, Hollywood, entertainment. Those are pillars of influence that, you know, finesse the next generation. So we have to continue speaking out and promoting each other's channels. So I feel like the work is not really done, but I think long range, what I want to see happen is people recognizing, going outside themselves and realizing we are multi-dimensional beings having a human experience. We are not, we're in shells in this low density, low energy, negative matrix. That's what it is, the matrix. And people can kind of zoom out and see that. They'll start living their best lives. They'll stop tripping over identity politics and worried about their skin color, because you can't take your skin color with you when you die. Everyone's going to pay taxes. Every single person. I don't care if you're a rich white racist. You could be Richard Spencer. Guess what? If you get hit by a truck, Richard Spencer, same thing's going to happen to you that will happen to some black person or Asian person that you don't like. So as soon as people can zoom out and see that and transcend all the bullshit that's politics, that's racism, sexism. You guys watch Jesse Lee Peterson, homophobism, Islamophobism. You transcend all of that and just, you know, connect with the divine and live your best life, because we were not put on this planet to be enslaved the way we are, just going through life on a conveyor belt, you know, living on someone else's terms. So I think that's where we'll get with an awakening. But first, we got to get Trump reelected so he can truly drain the swamps, so we can shrink the size of government, because we're not supposed to be governed, I don't believe, to this extent. And then we can get a nice, principled, Ron Paul style libertarian in there, you know, and then go from there. And I really do see we can have a better world, but you know what the Bible says. So that's all I got to say, guys.